FM Abeokuta, the Integrity Station. Here is Nigeria today. I am Maryam Ogunremi. First, the headlines. Federal government warns 30 states FCT of heavy rains and floods. Presidency apologizes over errors in federal appointments list. In Ogun State, government advised public to follow due diligence in land purchase. In business news, Dangote Refinery slashes ex-depot petrol price. In sport news, Osimhen set for mega deal as Galatasaray ready €70 million transfer bid. Details of this and more shortly. Now the news in detail. The federal government has predicted heavy rains and floods in 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The high flood risk states are Abia, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Edo, Gombe, Imo, Jigawa, Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, Zamfara, and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Joseph Utsev, today said coastal and riverine flooding would be experienced in some parts of the south-south geopolitical zone of the country due to a rise in sea level. Utsev stated this during the public presentation of the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, in Abuja. The minister disclosed that flooding remained one of the most devastating natural disasters in Nigeria, with climate change accelerating its frequency and severity. The Director General of NISA, Umar Mohammed, noted that this year's flood forecast goes beyond mapping LGAs and now identifies specific communities at risk. The presidency has apologized for the errors in the list of appointments released to counter the narrative about President Bola Tinubu's alleged lopsided appointments. The apology was contained in a statement issued by the Special Advisor, Media and Public Communications spokesperson to the President, Sunday Dare, on his verified social media handle today, stating that an updated list will be made available soon. The president's appointments have been a topic of conversation lately as opposition politicians accuse him of favoring his tribesmen and women over Nigerians from other ethnic groups. In a recent interview, Senator Ali Ndume, an APC lawmaker representing Borno South, accused the president of violating the federal character principle in his appointments and stated that he decided to call the president's attention to his lopsided appointment because, as a lawmaker, he has the right to criticize the president, even though they belong to the same party. To counter the allegation, the presidency released a list of President Tinubu's appointments and their geopolitical zones showing that the president had appointed 29 people from the southwest, his home region, 35 from the northwest, 22 from the south-south, 16 from the southeast, 25 from north-central, and 24 from the northeast. The presidency has inaugurated a National Community Engagement Framework Drafting Committee with a mandate to strengthen grassroots participation in federal policies and governance. The committee is expected to submit its draft within 6 weeks. Speaking during the inauguration ceremony at the State House, Abuja today, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement Northwest, Abdullahi Yakasai, described the initiative as a vital step toward inclusive governance. Yakasai emphasized the importance of inclusive decision-making, noting that the framework would help prioritize citizens' welfare through meaningful dialogue and action. In her remarks, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement North Central, Mrs. Abiodun Esiet, said the framework would serve as a blueprint to ensure no citizen is excluded from national development efforts. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has refuted the circulating news that he dismissed the recent concerns raised by the governor of Borno State, Babangana Umar Zulum, regarding the security situation in the state. It was noted that the report by an online publication was misleading. The minister, in a statement signed by his media aide, Mr. Rabi Ibrahim, described the news report as false and a gross distortion of the minister's remarks. Ibrahim stated that at no time did the Honorable Minister say Ignore Zulum Boko Haram is not taking over Borno. Such a headline is not only sensational, but also crafted deliberately as an act of misinformation meant to incite public misunderstanding and distract from the serious work the federal government is doing to address security challenges. He explained in his response to media inquiries regarding Governor Zulum's remarks, the Honorable Minister acknowledged that while the federal government has made significant progress in restoring peace and security across many parts of the country, some areas continue to face security challenges. The minister further called on all stakeholders, including state governments, to continue partnering with the federal government to bring lasting peace to affected communities. Moving on to the Red Chamber, where the Senate President Godswill Akpabio has formally petitioned the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetokun, over what he described as a criminally defamatory and inciting allegation made by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, who accused him of plotting her assassination. In the petition dated the 3rd of April and copied to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi SAN, Akpabio described the claims as heinous lies intended to damage his reputation, incite public unrest, and endanger his life. Akpabio called for an immediate police investigation and urged the prosecution of Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan under laws covering criminal defamation, incitement, false accusation, and conduct likely to cause a breach of peace. The Senate President also stressed the impact of the allegation due to its widespread coverage on TV, radio, print, and social media, and concluded the petition by stating the need to hold public officials accountable for statements capable of undermining national peace and democratic institutions. The president of the African Development Bank, AFDB, Akinwumi Adesina, has disclosed that Africa's youth bulge is a demographic asset that has to become an economic asset through rigorous investment in human capital development and financing. The former Nigerian culture minister said youth in Nigeria and other 51 countries in Africa do not need freebies under the guise of empowerment schemes, but capital to fund their ideas and translate same into enduring wealth. The economist lamented the migration phenomenon known as Japa in Nigeria, saying that it is a big loss for Nigeria and the African continent. The AFDB boss said if young people in Africa are skilled with good jobs and social protection, this will turn to prosperity for the continent because the demography has high purchasing power.
You cannot turn your demographic asset into somebody else's problem, right? We have to own that as something that is ours. We have to put our money behind our young people and create opportunities for them, right? You want to create youth-based wealth.
Adesina said to support young people in Africa, the AFDB created the Youth Entrepreneurship Development Bank to support their business plans and to address institutional failure around financing.
So the whole of the system is not designed for young people. The commercial banking system, the financial system has failed young people in Africa. We have over 465 million young people. You're getting there between the age of 15 and 35 that you are adding. Where's the financial markets for them? Why is that suddenly a surprise to us that they are leaving? It's because you're not putting anything there for them, you know. And so we must recognize that the young people are our biggest assets. You know, demographic asset has to become an economic asset. And to do that, you have to put capital. That's why actually at the African Development Bank, I led my team to develop what's called the Youth Entrepreneurship Investment Banks. These are new financial institutions across Africa.
That was the president of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina. Away from that, the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has sanctioned 8 distribution companies for failing to comply with monthly energy caps for unmetered customers between July and September 2024. The affected discos include Abuja, Eko, Enugu, Ikeja, Jos, Kaduna, Kano, and Yola. The Commission, in a statement made available to newsmen today, stated that the discos have been fined over 628 million naira and must issue credit adjustments to affected customers by the 15th of May 2025. The Commission further stated that the sanction is vital to ensure regulatory compliance and consumer protection in the Nigerian electricity supply industry. Members of the Trade Union Congress TUC and the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC today blocked the Ministry of Steel Development Complex at Wuse 2 in Abuja, the nation's capital, demanding better welfare for themselves and their colleagues working in the ministry. They also opposed what they described as the unjust sack of workers and a ban on workers' rights to practice unionism. The labor unions, led by Eche Azuzu, barricaded the main gate of the ministry's headquarters in the nation's capital and prevented staffers of the ministry from gaining access to their offices. Carrying placards with different inscriptions and singing solidarity songs, the protesting workers kicked against the federal government's alleged maltreatment of staffers at the ministry and demanded better wages. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, today began the conduct of the Mock Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, for no fewer than 211,000 candidates across the country. The mock, according to JAMB authorities, is meant to familiarize prospective candidates with the computer-based testing CBT mode deployed by the examination body. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oluyede could disclose this while monitoring the exercise at a CBT center in Buhari, Abuja, stated that the results of the mock examination will be released on Friday. Oluyede further explained that the conduct of the mock was to test the board's readiness for the main examination and experiment with new strategies to improve the process. The registrar, who stated that the only way to pass UTME is by studying hard, expressed concerns that some candidates are patronizing rogue websites to cheat in the exam, adding that JAMB has also opened a decoy website targeting such individuals. He also cautioned candidates against seeking fraudulent websites for information, including individuals claiming to offer assistance during the examination. You're still on to Nigeria Today on Splash 106.7 FM Abeokuta. Still to come, Ogun State government advised public to follow due diligence in land purchase. In business news, Dangote Refinery slashes ex-depot petrol price. In sports news, Osimhen set for mega deal as Galatasaray ready €70 million transfer bid. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
Sister, you still dey wash plates?
Yes, sir. I be done nearly finish when I can see the pot where you soak for 3 days now.
Make you no vex. See, I been plan to wash them this night when we come house.
I hear you.
But shao, you too dey waste time and water. If na me, back like this, I don't finish them with half bucket of water safe.
Half waiting.
Sharp now.
But the plates no go clean now. And small time now, so we go dey sick.
Who sigh? Make I tell you, disease no dey kill African man.
Yeah.
Now.
I beg come out. I go even clean this house safe.
Sister, you don't come be that oh. Make you leave everything now. Make we go quick.
I beg. Princess, if you no fit wait for me, make I wash this whole plate and clean this house finish. They go.
Na person wey dey well fit to hurry. Take time clean where you dey. E dey pay o.
Welcome back to Nigeria today on Splash 106.7 FM Abeokuta. Moving on to Ogun State. As a measure to curb the incessant cases of land grabbers in the state, members of the public have been advised to investigate thoroughly before making payment for any landed property. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in the state, Mr. Oluwashina Ogungbade, made this known in an interview with newsmen, saying the general public should follow due diligence in land purchase in order not to lose their hard-earned money to land grabbers. The commissioner said despite land grabbing laws and committees set up by the government, the Ministry of Justice had continued to face challenges on land grabbing, advising the public to seek professional advice when purchasing the land. He pointed out that the task force saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that illegality of land acquisition was abated would stop at nothing to make anyone who constitute nuisance face the full wrath of the law, saying no individual, group, or person would be allowed to manipulate the state judiciary. Away from Ogun State, the Lagos State Governors Advisory Council (GAC) has received a former PDP chieftain and visionary of the Lagos for Lagos movement, Abdulaziz Adediran, popularly known as Jandor, into the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). This was disclosed in a statement issued by his spokesman, Benga Ogunleye, today in Lagos, stating that the former Lagos gubernatorial candidate in the 2023 elections was received by GAC members led by Prince Tajudeen Olusi. The statement further disclosed that the reception took place in Saudi Arabia and had in attendance Chief Rabi Oluwa, Senator Ganiu Olariwaju Solomon, and Senator Musliu Obanikoro. Adediran, who was once an APC governorship aspirant, resigned from the PDP on the 3rd of March, alleging indiscipline and betrayal by party leaders. From Lagos to Oyo State, where government has implored corporate organizations, companies, and individuals evading taxes to shun the practice, as the state government is set to enforce stringent measures to clamp down on them. The executive chairman, Board of Internal Revenue, Olufemi Awakon, who gave the warning in an interview with journalists at the state secretariat, disclosed that with the new tax reforms by the federal government and collaboration with the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS, there would be no hiding place for tax evaders in Oyo State. The executive chairman equally hinted that as at January 2025, the state internally generated revenue hit about 10 billion naira, acknowledging that the success of the board in continuously increasing IGR is in line with the vision of Governor Seyi Makinde to rescue the state from over-reliance on federal allocation.
You cannot turn your demographic asset into somebody else's problem, right? We have to own that as something that is ours. We have to put our money behind our young people and create opportunities for them, right? You want to create youth-based wealth.
He also noted that interagency collaboration and synergy with other state ministries has created a seamless process for effective revenue generation in Oyo State. The Arewa Consultative Forum has condemned politicians in banking on early campaigns for the 2027 general elections, urging them to focus on addressing the country's pressing issues. Speaking at its National Executive Committee meeting in Kaduna today, the ACF chairman, Maman Usman, said emphasis should be on governance that addresses the needs of Nigerians rather than election campaigns. Usman also expressed concern over recent killings in northern regions, particularly in Plateau, Edo, and Borno State, and the ongoing dispute between Kogi and Enugu State over the Ete community land. He also highlighted the economic hardship faced by Nigerians, including the high cost of living, poor healthcare, and expensive transportation. The ACF called on politicians to prioritize governance and address the needs of Nigerians rather than focusing on election campaigns. The Kebbi State Governor has announced the rescue of a 400-level student of the Federal University, Benin Kebbi, Augustine Madubia, who was abducted from an off-campus hostel. The student was rescued by police operatives in the Dankingari forest of Suru local government area after they tracked and trailed the kidnappers. Deputy Governor of Kebbi State, Senator Umar Tafida, alongside the Commissioner of Police, Sani Bello, and the Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Zayan Mohammed, visited the off-campus hostel where the abduction took place. While announcing the rescue, the Deputy Governor reaffirmed the state's commitment to the safety of students in all tertiary institutions across Kebbi. He disclosed that the rescued student has been taken to the hospital for medical examination. Giving further details, Commissioner of Police Sani Bello said the student was abandoned by the abductors following sustained pressure from the police. He also confirmed that no ransom was paid. And now to the word of business. Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has reviewed its ex-gantry loading cost of petrol from 880 naira to 865 naira per litre. The decision, according to reports, was made known in a statement released by the authorities of the refinery today, informing its marketers and customers of the slash in price of the petroleum product. The decision, according to reports, followed a meeting between representatives of the Dangote refinery and the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, on Tuesday. And at the end of the meeting, the government stated that the naira for crude was still in effect and that the initiative was not a temporary measure but a key policy directive designed to support sustainable local refining. The government also said the initiative is still in effect and will continue immediately, overruling the decision of the NNPC under its former boss, Mele Kyari, which tenured the initiative. Finally, from the world of sports, Galatasaray are ready to table a record-breaking offer in a bid to secure Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen on a permanent deal. Osimhen joined the Turkish Giants on loan from Napoli following the collapse of a proposed move to Chelsea. And since arriving at the club, the Super Eagles striker has scored 28 times in 32 appearances across all competitions. Osimhen has also quickly become a huge fan favorite as he leads Galatasaray's bid to retain the Turkish Super League title and win the domestic cup, prompting the club's top brass to want to keep him in Istanbul beyond the summer window. The Istanbul Giants are ready to offer Napoli a staggering 70 million euros transfer fee and hand Osimhen a 3-year contract worth 50 million euros net per season, plus performance-related bonuses. However, they will have to fight off interest from top European sides like Manchester United, Arsenal, Chelsea, and even Saudi Arabia. Just before we go on Nigeria Today, here is a recap of our top stories. The federal government has predicted heavy rains and floods in 30 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The presidency has apologized for the errors in the list of appointments released to counter the narrative about President Bola Tinubu's alleged lopsided appointment. In Ogun State, as a measure to curb the incessant cases of land grabbers in the state, members of the public have been advised to investigate thoroughly before making payment for any land property. In business news, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has reviewed its ex-gantry loading costs of petrol from 880 naira to 865 naira per litre. From the world of sport, Galatasaray are ready to table a record-breaking offer in a bid to secure Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen on a permanent deal. We have now come to the end of Nigeria Today on Splash 106.7 FM. The Integrity Station. Do not litter. Keep your environment clean. The news editor is Abidemi Kajogola. I am Maryam Ogunremi. Good evening and thank you for listening.